Come on up, Jeanie. Great to have Jeanie Buss, who does not come with an entourage, who comes by herself, sits down, and answers tough questions. How are you?
Make me sound sad. I
No.
don't have my own entourage.
No, it's strong. It's strong.
It's strong. All right, so let's get right to it. I've always believed that if I'm critical of something or somebody and they come on, we don't hide from it. I have been critical of the Lakers reaching backwards to solve their future problems. Let's get a former Laker to coach when it's really about the future. That's what fans pay tickets for. Is that a fair criticism that in recent years you've looked behind more than ahead? Is that fair of me?
I wouldn't say that would be a formula. I think that there is something unique about the Lakers because it is a very, close-knit community.
Mm-hmm.
But not only from our players, but also our fans, that we have, fans that are season ticket holders that have had their seats for over 30 years. And I think it's one of our strengths. So I would say that is something that you would exploit as one of your strengths, is how close community that we are.
Byron Scott, and everybody has a reputation. Byron Scott's history is he likes veteran players. For the record, so does Doc Rivers. Certain coaches, like other coaches, Brad Stevens, he's John Calipari, he'll work well with younger players. Is it a fair criticism that maybe Byron Scott wasn't an ideal match for this current roster of players?
It's funny because I want people to know that I was booked on this show like 3 weeks ago. So it wasn't that I was coming on here to talk about the Lakers coaching situation. But I think that Byron Scott did a great job. I think that, in terms of a makeup of a team, in terms of veterans and young players, I don't know if anybody knows what the formula is. I do know that he had them working hard. He had them working together. And I think that while the record didn't show what would be acceptable for Lakers basketball, I think by and large, the team worked hard throughout an entire season, even once their playoff hopes were over.
But you weren't satisfied, obviously, because he has...
Who would be with that
Right,
record?
who would be? So, and again, a criticism I levied against the organization was, listen, Kobe Bryant is Magic Johnson is Kareem. There are iconic Jeter, DiMaggio, Mantle players. I understand that. It did feel like to me that part of the Kobe victory tour was as much about business, Time Warner making this franchise interesting, as it was about basketball. Is it fair for me to say part of the Kobe victory tour, it was business beyond basketball?
This team, this organization is about winning basketball games. There was no plan of, making it about a Kobe retirement tour. As a matter of fact, we didn't know he was going to be announcing his retirement until the season started this past year. What we went into this season was knowing we were going to celebrate 20 years of Kobe for the fact that he was on our team for 20 years. I don't think you'll see that again in the NBA or maybe even any professional sport, especially we don't draft players that young anymore.
Right.
And so just to have the longevity of career with one team is really remarkable. In terms of running an operation to just make money as a business, then you're in the wrong business. This organization is about winning basketball games and about making the city of Los Angeles proud for their sports team.
Jeanie Buss, Laker co-owner and president. The world's changed. I can get everything on my phone now. I remember 15 years ago, people saying, you'll do everything but wash your clothes on your phone. I thought, oh, please, we're going to drive spaceships. But now that's true. The world's changed. The world has also changed in that players don't have to go to L.A. to be stars. You can be a star in Oklahoma City. Culturally, basketball is different today than even 10, 15 years ago. How surprised are you that in a couple of the free agent pitches, when you've got against fairly boring, mundane cities, you have not been able to land the player? How discouraging has that been?
It is discouraging. I think that, when you talk about a player doesn't need to be in a large market to be a star, you're right. I think that the NBA has moved towards parity as much as possible through our collective bargaining agreement, through our revenue sharing agreement, and
that's not good for you necessarily.
No, that's absolutely great for us because there was a day and time where the NBA was on shaky ground, when there was 20, 22 teams. And through the leadership of somebody like David Stern, who really got all the owners working towards
he
a
reshaped
common
the
goal.
league.
Right.
Reshaped the league.
And you're only as strong as your weakest team. And so that, the Lakers being one of the premier franchises, my dad always knew that you had to have opponents to play and that you needed healthy teams that could compete in order for you to shine as well. And so through those mechanisms, there has, created more parity in the NBA, which is a good thing. And it just means that, in terms of free agency, there's more competition.
Lots more.
And, I think that I understand if you ask me about a specific player, Dwight Howard or LaMarcus Aldridge, why they didn't choose to stay with the Lakers or come to the Lakers. I understand their individual choice. I'm proud of our league that we have free agency. We have a good relationship with our Players Association, and players earn a right at a time in their career where they get to choose exactly where they want to play.
But there is a crisis moment for your organization. Back-to-back-to-back years, it's been rebuilding. Now, it's not Philadelphia. You've had Kobe. You've been certainly far more interesting than other rebuild jobs. There is a certain gravitas or glamour to the Lakers. You've also been very transparent about certain demands on your brother, Jim Buss. When I said you were coming on today, people weren't critical of you. They were critical of your brother. You have had a timeline. It is reaching close to the end of this timeline. Are you having discussions currently with changes at the top of the organization? You're a co-owner.
Well, first of all, the timeline was something that my brother, he and I discussed in a family meeting.
And it became public.
And he's the one who made it public. And, I have no reason to think that he cannot be successful in terms of putting together a winning team. They, and when I say they, I mean Mitch Kupchak, our general manager, and my brother, Jim Buss, who's head of basketball operations. They have wanted to have the flexibility of having a young core players, draft picks,
Is that successful, Jeanie, though? Is record successful or growth? What is successful? What is the line?
If you look back at the longevity of my dad's career running the Lakers, in 32 years, the Lakers only missed the playoffs twice.
Yes.
Okay. And we had marquee players who played on the team that weren't, yes, Kobe was a first round draft pick, but he wasn't picked. I mean, he was traded to the Lakers. He wasn't drafted by the Lakers. Sure. Magic Johnson was drafted by the Lakers. So there's ways to put together teams. Right. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to have the number one pick every year for 3 years in a row.
But the audience listening to me today is going to say, come on, Jeanie, we know it's not successful unless they land a markedly greater free agent than maybe Durant is about the only one available. Success being, there has to be a win-loss component to success, right? Like if next year is 24 wins, even though the team's better, your audience won't say, Jeanie successful.
I think I think you can dissect it so many different ways. And, to me, it's about winning and losing basketball games.
Absolutely. That's my point.
And it's pretty easy. Wins and losses are pretty straightforward. And, that's what I've asked, what I've made clear to our front office is that we are going to be judged by wins and losses. It isn't about having a marquee star player and coming in last place.
Right.
That is not what Laker basketball is. Lakers basketball is winning basketball.
Do you have the power, because I know you've got the guts and the opinion and the history, do you have the power, if a Laker fan is driving around this morning, that if next year is 31 wins and you don't see growth, to walk in and Jeanie Buss makes radical changes? Do you have the power?
Well, my brother's already said that's if he can't deliver, that he would understand and step aside. I also have the power to make sure that they have all the tools that they need in order to put together a team that can compete.
Yeah, but you've done that very well.
Well, that's where I have to always ask myself, what is my role in this? And I feel that my role is to give them the platform, give them the tools. So I think we play in one of the best arenas in the country.
Yes.
We have the best partnerships in terms of broadcast. We broke ground last fall on a new headquarters that will triple the size of the practice space that the players
right around the
have.
corner from my house, yes.
There you go, in El Segundo. So, I am trying to set them up so that they have everything that they need at their disposal, whether it is through cap space where they can sign free agents or use that cap space to trade for players. This is now, we have to give them this opportunity to put together what they envision Lakers basketball is going forward. I will never dictate X's and O's, what kind of
Do you
offense.
have any say in the coaching search?
No, as a matter of fact, I didn't know that they were going to let Byron go. I was at a memorial service Sunday night for Gary Shandling, the comedian, and so I had powered off my phone. I came out of that around 10 p.m., turned my phone on, and it literally blew up. It was, vibrating with all the messages. I didn't know that. I was following along in the media, feeling that they felt that Byron had done a good job. So I really didn't anticipate that a change like that was coming.
The Lakers are twofold. Operational, you deal with. Basketball operations, you do not deal with. But you will ultimately have the power. Some have suggested, and I would say in every corporation I've worked in, there have been senior officials who are seen as almost consultants. I don't need him to be my boss, but I like smart people in the room. You have a long history as an organization, and we know your relationship with Phil Jackson. Is it possible, as simply eyes and ears and experience and acumen, that Phil could come back in any role? Is that possible, yes or no?
Well, first of all, he's under contract to another team.
Certainly.
So talking about him would be tampering. He signed a 5-year agreement. He is in New York.
If he was available on the market.
You know what I asked before he took a job, I asked my siblings if it would be possible for Phil to play a role with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Because it would make me better at my job.
Sure.
It would be somebody that I would enjoy having an opportunity to work with the man I'm engaged to.
Certainly.
And my brother made it clear that he and Mitch didn't need another voice in the front office. And it wasn't really necessarily about Phil. It was that they didn't need any other voice in the front office. Jim and Mitch see basketball the same way. They have a vision of what they want to put together. They really don't need any more input to make things cloudy.
Are Jim and Mitch, I strongly support Mitch Kupchak. I think he's shown a history of finding talent even in the second round, which can be dubious for the top GMs. Are they a package deal? What if I say, I trust Mitch, your brother I don't feel has the historical proof? Are they a package deal? Could you sever it and say keep one, the other moves out?
It's my brother Jim is the executive in charge of basketball. So Mitch reports to Jimmy. So it's not about me. It really would be Jimmy's call. It's really.
Is it fair to say some Laker fans are uncomfortable with that?
I think people need to give them an opportunity. They have everything that they've wanted in terms of flexibility going into this off season. Let's watch what they put together. Let's give them that opportunity. They deserve that time to put together what they see as Lakers basketball.
But you would acknowledge that time is winding down.
I think my brother made that clear.
12 months? Is 12 months realistic?
I'm
have pressing
no
you because
reason,
my audience will press me.
Well, and that's okay. I mean, I have no reason to think that they can't show a major improvement from this past season. This past season was the worst in Lakers franchise history.
Right.
There's nowhere to go but up. Now they have all the tools that a front office needs to make trades, to sign free agents. Hopefully we'll keep our draft pick in the lottery on May 17th. All Laker fans, send your good vibes for
I'm not
that.
overly religious, but I would pray for you.
Thank you.
On May 17th, it's a ping pong lottery. Could I say this? And we're running out. Oh, boy, I'm running out of time. One more question. Again, I was very critical of Byron. One of the things about the Kobe victory lap that made me uncomfortable is I believe you have to play rookies 30 minutes so you know if they can play or not. I still don't know if D'Angelo Russell's a 1 or a 2. There is indecision. Could you acknowledge, though, it is possible that with the glamorous ending by Kobe, it could have potentially stunted the growth of young players?
I don't think so. I do think that playing time is the currency of players and development. And so, anytime a player can get playing time in the NBA, especially in the playoffs, but we haven't been in the playoffs for 3 years now. So we have some rookies who haven't had that experience. I do think it's important. Do I think that Kobe cost them playing time? I don't think so. Kobe only plays one position, and there's plenty of playing time to go around for all the starters and for the rotation players. You should have Mitch on your show because I'm not an X's and O's person. I can't really talk to you about basketball. I don't dictate what kind of
Minutes,
offense or
times,
style,
yeah.
minutes for players. I just know that in my role, that when a player becomes a Laker, I have their back. That's once you're on our team, then you're somebody that is part of the Lakers family.
And the Buss family to some degree.
Right, and I will do everything that I can to help that player meet and maybe even exceed their potential that they even thought.
All right, Jeanie Buss, Laker part owner and president. We appreciate you. You never duck questions. You never duck opportunities. We appreciate that.